Right, it's Tate versus Viera this weekend. It's a pretty decent card, and there was a couple of fighters that looked really good on the undercard. So this video, I want to talk about Adrian Yanez. So Adrian Yanez obviously fought Davey Grant. It was the first fight on the card. Very close, well, relatively competitive decision. I'm not sure I'll call it close. Davey Grant obviously thought he won. You know, I don't think anyone else thought he won, to be honest. But yeah, I wanted to talk about Adrian Yanez. I wanted Davey Grant to win that fight, obviously being English, but Yanez is only 23 and he looks excellent. So I'm looking at that bantamweight division. There's a lot of exciting fights that are already there, and I'm just looking forward to Yanez sort of being within that mix. Like if you look at the top 10, you still got people like sort of Cody Garbrandt and Pedro Munoz and people like that hanging around. And I can imagine this kid already giving them quite a good fight. So I look at him, and that division's just incredible. Like if you look at his boxing and the way that he's able to slip and counter, I think he matches up so well with some of the best fighters there really. I mean, obviously you've got Peter Yan right at the top of that division. I'm not saying Yanez is going to be a future champion or anything like that, but he could definitely be a contender within a couple of years. And the reason why I say that is because that sort of those boxing fundamentals are something that is becoming more and more popular within MMA, because everyone understands the kicking, everyone understands the wrestling. So unless you're an expert in either of those areas, a lot of the time it does come down to that sort of boxing ability and the counters and the head movement and the footwork. And this guy just looks like he's got such a good base in that particular area. He even showed some good takedown defense as well. I mean, Davey Grant's not a wrestler, but he's a pretty strong bantamweight, like a pretty physically strong bantamweight. So in order to defend his takedowns, I think that was quite impressive by Yanez also. Davey Grant was sort of winging these big hooks at him, and he was just sort of rolling with them, slipping, ripping one back, hitting him to the body, adding some calf kicks in there as well. So he's definitely got some really good weapons, and he's also a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So you've got a fighter here that I don't think we've obviously not seen his full potential yet, but he's already on an 8-fight win streak at 23. He's already beaten Davey Grant. And I mean, Davey Grant isn't a world beater, but he's a very, very solid bantamweight. Been around a long time, was a professional kickboxer previously. So I think that's a hell of a win for someone like Yanez to get. And you've got to consider Davey Grant, whilst not one of the best fighters at bantamweight, has a really, really good chin. So you look at some of the guys in the top 10, and it's like, can they take Yanez's power? Because he is going to hit you. Like that, those kind of counters that he can come up with, and the hand speed, he's setting everything up off his jab. He's slipping, and then he's ripping. And then with those right hands and the left hooks afterwards, I don't know if some of the bantamweights at the top, I don't know if they can take that. Like, you've got people like Garbrandt, who doesn't look the same since his title win. Then you've got Jose Aldo, who still looks incredible, but, is really possibly past his prime at this point. And you've got to think if this kid gets in the ring with some of those guys, how are they going to fare against that power and speed? You've got to look at that. Pedro Munoz as well. I mean, he hits hard himself, and he's also, pretty well-rounded fighter also. But I don't know if anyone in this division's quite got the crisp technique that Yanez has, other than Peter Yan. I mean, Peter Yan is just so tight and so powerful, and does some Mortal Kombat shit. But ultimately, I'm just talking about 2 or 3 years' time. Where is this kid going to be? So as always, guys, thank you very much for listening to this. Let me know your opinion on Adrian Yanez. I think he's going to be a contender very soon, probably sooner than we think. But as always, leave your opinion in the comment section. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And there'll also be a link to my Patreon page below if you want to join that as well. Thank you very much.